Hey, the world's full of fantastic music. Each month, we explore an album of significance, its roots, how it makes us feel, and then banter about its influence and staying power. Join us on our journey as we dissect, discuss, and discover some of the world's greatest albums on The Sonic Collective.
Hello, music enthusiasts. For the next 4 picks, or a full round of the Sonic Collective, we're going with something called Common Threads. Each of us will pick 3 albums where there is something, or perhaps a variety of things, that create some sort of common thread running through their 3 picks. Generally in a month, we listen to one album many times, but this time we'll have 3 albums to listen to in the month, with the challenge to listen to each of them at least once. Then at the end of the month, we'll do a review of sorts where we discuss possibly what the threads are, how they work together, and then generally really just dive into how we feel about each of those 3 albums. So we hope you enjoy this twist on our usual monthly take and see if you can find the common threads.
Thanks for explaining that, Scott. I got to admit, Scott emailed the group just a week or so ago about this idea, and I had to get him to explain it to me. So thanks for breaking it down for all our viewers again, buddy, because at first I wasn't totally sure what he meant by it, like the 3 common thread picks, but I really liked the idea once he explained it, and I was like, okay, great idea. And then my mind starts going on how to pick this, what to do, and then all of a sudden, as I started to listen to more music, you realize there's a lot of associations. You know, there's some really basic ones, and we're not telling each other what our pick is, and I'm not going to tell you here. I'm not going to tell you what the common thread is, obviously. You have to listen to the artist and figure it out for yourself. So I didn't tell the guys, and a few of them when we were talking, not saying who we're picking, but I think mine might be a little bit hard to get. I think some people might pick it up right away, and maybe one of the members, Scott, or Alan, will figure it out right away, but I don't know. It might come down to the review before I reveal it, so it'll be really interesting. I almost went a few different routes. You know, there's a common one. You could just pick a famous producer or something like that, or a songwriter or something like that maybe wrote songs that are featured on all the albums. That would be a common thread. I even had one. I was watching a documentary on Netflix called This Is Pop, and they had a special on the Boyz II Men, and it was really, the special actually revolved a lot around how Boyz II Men was the first big boy band that really broke through the pop charts and just crushed it. And then, of course, what happened, everybody saw that, and then corporate America realized, yeah, but these are young black men, let's do it so young white people will like it. And hence, that's how NSYNC, New Kids on the Block, and the Backstreet Boys all really got their start. They were basically completely rip-off bands of Boyz II Men. I mean, they changed the style a bit and things like that, but it was all. So I thought maybe one of my threads should be like, pick 3 albums that maybe are just appropriations of black music that really invented and started the genre or kicked off a musical, revolution in somehow. But I decided not to go that route. But that's an example of one that probably would have been hard to guess too, if I had to pick like NSYNC and maybe even something like an Elvis Presley or Blue, or even something like the Rolling Stones. You could all say those are artists that definitely, blues influenced Elvis to start rock, as well as Rolling Stones. And then you got something like the Boyz II Men soul that inspired all these boy bands and girl bands for that matter. Anyway, I didn't do that. So without going on too much, and I don't want to reveal too much, I'm going to get into the 3 albums I did pick. So first of all, here's, I'm gonna try and help out a little bit. So I'm gonna give you 3 albums, but I'm also gonna name some other artists that would still be connected in this same thread. So there's artists like David Bowie, the Talking Heads, Brian Eno, Joy Division, Sex Pistols. And by the way, actually all 5 of these artists, well, not Sex Pistols, but Public Image Limited, we've all done reviews of. So check those out, because we've already done reviews. So you might find some tips or hints in there, but I'm not saying if there are or not. But New York Dolls, Patti Smith, Violent Femmes, Jesus and Mary Chain, The Strokes. I mean, I could actually continue, but those aren't the artists I picked, because again, there was 5 that we already did reviews of, and the others we haven't got to yet, but I decided to go with these 3 that I picked. So here we go. In no particular order, the first artist I picked was REM. And the album I picked was their Reckoning album. So this was, I believe, their second album, and a really great album. I got to admit, I've liked REM, but I've kind of come in and out. Some of their popular stuff early in the 80s when I was around, I really liked. But some of the more mellow stuff I've struggled with over the years. But I am not taking away from the genius of REM and really like them. And I'm excited to listen to this album. So that's the first album. The second album is Sonic Youth, and the album is Goo. So another very popular band from the 90s, and a very powerful band and different style. So that is the second album I picked, was the Sonic Youth Goo album. And then the third album, and I mean, even if you're thinking timing here, REM, that's the early 80s. Sonic Youth here were early 90s. And then now I'm taking a step back. The other album I'm picking is Jonathan Richman and the Modern Lovers, or just the Modern Lovers, and it's their self-titled album. I believe they only had one, maybe two albums. I actually own this one on vinyl. It's an album I really love. Jonathan Richman, if you don't know him already, a very influential and famous musician, but he was in the movie There's Something About Mary. He was the quirky singer that starts that movie in the tree singing and kind of comes back at the end, but he's in that movie, and just an interesting character. Well, and that's a good way to describe Jonathan Richman, a very interesting character. But again, REM, Sonic Youth, and Modern Lovers. Now, your job is, first of all, to go listen to those three albums this month. Do it at least once. You don't try and listen too much, but listen to them, enjoy. And then try and figure out what is the connection, what is the common thread between these three bands. And I think helped you by listing about 10 other bands, and again, we've already done reviews for about 5 of them, that also share this common thread. So I've given you a good selection, and so hopefully that helps you decipher it a bit. But either way, I think you're really going to enjoy the good music. And what I'm most pumped about, Scott, and again, thanks for this idea, is that instead of just one album a month that we review and take our time, we're doing 3. So basically, there's 4 of us in the group. We usually do a round of 4 months, so that's 4 albums, but now we're going to have 12. So I'm excited about that, to listen to all this music. We are going to change it up. We're not going to come back and give our ratings like we are. We're going to just more discuss the albums, give an overall general impression, and then talk about, again, the connection. And I think there'll be some talk of the connections and whatever those are, and then how those kind of related back into the picks. So anyway, I've gone on long enough, and I hope you enjoy this round. It looks like a really fun one for us all. I'm Darren Scott from the Sonic Collective, and please join us at thesonicollective.com or on all your podcast platforms, and you can find lots of our shows. And have a good one. Good luck guessing what the common thread is.
Thanks for listening and exploring with us. We'll be back real soon with another pick and critique of albums that matter here at the Sonic Collective.